Did you have any questions today, or you're just coming on?
I just thought I'd take a coffee break for a little bit and see what you have to say.
Okay, very good. So we were today for the preservation coffee break, we were talking about lime-based mortar, and probably right around the turn of the last century, in the 1900s, Portland cement started to become like the building material of choice, and for repair for masonry work too, and it was a lot harder and not as permeable, is that the right word? Yeah, as the traditional lime-based mortar. So traditional mortar is just lime, sand, and water, and that's mortar, plaster, and stucco. It's just the proportions are different depending on what you're mixing, and that's traditional. That's just what it is. Now we add extra stuff to it, and there's different types. There's gypsum-based plasters and other more modern materials. But anyway, so the original mortar was just lime, water, and sand, or whatever aggregate. Some areas used not plaster, like oyster shells. So you see different textures or bigger stones. You know, you see different things, but that was more for decorative than for the lime or for the mortar. But when they started adding the Portland in, they started to have problems during the freeze-thaw cycle. And you can walk around any city that has a significant number of older brick buildings and see the problem. The face of the brick usually pops off, and it's really soft and crumbly. And once that happens, you have two choices. You can repair it with a newer product that's called lithomix, or you replace the brick. I mean, those are really the two options for repairing it. If you
there's temporary solutions.
What's your temporary solution? I'm nervous.
I forget what did we do with the what did they want us to put on it? The Thompson's water seal?
Oh yeah, that's a whole other brick issue, but it's the same concept. So we were working on a project.
That's very temporary.
Yeah.
Every year application.
Yeah, we were working on a project in Strasbourg, and it had formstone on the outside of the brick, and it was formstone that looked like brick, but it had brick underneath. So it was really bizarre that they put this formstone on the front of it. And formstone is like a pressed. It was started in Baltimore, but it's a pressed.
It's cement.
Substitute material, but it either looked like stone or it looked like brick. And you would cement the wall and then apply this to the wall as like an outside coating. You see a lot of formstone.
It's basically preceded the Stampcrete.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Yeah. Or like lick it, stick it. What
but
are
it's
those
more
called?
like Stampcrete because you use the pattern.
Yeah. So anyway,
You're too young to remember it was a big thing in the 50s and 60s.
It was a big thing, and it came out of Baltimore, just kind of went out. But so they wanted us to remove the formstone from this property, and Jonathan and my dad went to the back of it. We said, we'll start in the back, we'll look at it. They took a small piece off, and they weren't able to take it off without taking the veneer of the brick off, which is what would protect the brick. They got a mason to take it off. We still did other work there, but we didn't do that work. And he told them to put Thompson's water seal on the outside of this building every year. It's still there, and it actually looks like it's doing okay, but I don't think
you can still see the red brick. You could all the time.
Yeah,
on the
yeah. But it's not a. I don't think it's a very permanent solution. There are the lithomix is more like a brick.
It's more like an epoxy.
Yeah, but you mix it with water and then just apply it.
Yeah, it is think of a very sticky brick.
Like before it's fired. Yeah.
But then it cures like hard, but it sticks to just about anything.
Yeah. So that's what they use a lot for brownstones. They use it to rebuild like sculptures, and they also use it for rebuilding.
What are you calling that?
Lithomix. It's LITHOMA or MX. M-A-X. I'm terrible at spelling out loud.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Hold on. Let me. Yeah, it's.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, Jonathan will look it up for me. Yeah, I never won any spelling bees. So, but when they started using the Portland cement on the it's LITHOMEX.
And it comes in different colors and
Yeah,
everything
and
else.
they can match colors too if you need it. I think that's a really good solution, especially like in areas where the water's been wicking up and people have tried to do repairs and they've damaged the brick. If you just have a small area repair, I think it's a really good solution for a problem that's pretty common. A whole building, I don't know if I would do a whole building, but you know, for small areas.
I'd try to find a spray epoxy or something.
Something, yeah. But they but when they started, so the freeze thaw cycle, so once water gets in the wall through the brick, and as it freezes, as it dries out,
it's supposed to come out through the mortar because it's the more porous and softer.
Right.
But
so traditional mortar.
But once it's done with Portland cement mixture, it's actually harder than the old brick, which kind of forces the brick to keep the moisture in it.
And which is why the faces of the brick blow off. So that what should be the softer of the two, you're kind of changing that balance. So the mortar should be softer than the brick. When you put the Portland in, repoint with Portland, then that makes the Portland hard because it has the cement in it, and then that causes the brick to be damaged. I know there are some purists that will say you should change everything with stone too. Stone, it's a lot less damaging
because the stone's going to always usually, depending on what it is, but like field stone and like old farmhouses that are done with those type of stones, that's obviously going to be harder than any Portland cement we ever use. So.
Right. So when you're repointing, you want to make sure that you use a lime based mortar. So we mix our own mortar. We use a type O, which is the hardest that we'll use now. And sand, sand and lime. Now, if we're matching, or we really need a soft brick, like the brick is really soft, we will order from limeworks.us, and they actually import hydraulic lime from Europe, so it's softer even than the lime we can get here. For most everyday use, though, making your own with a type O is soft enough, and that's what the Park Service recommends. But if we need a special, and what's really nice about what they sell at Limeworks is that it's a bag, it's already colored, everything you need in it, all you have to do is mix it, like everything, it's done.
Yep.
So those that
we even do custom colors.
Yeah, they do, and they have a whole lab. So if you need something that needs to be matched, you can send them a chunk, they'll analyze it for you and then make what you need. And they do that in, I think it's in Bucks County. I've driven up there, even the past few months, but I think it's in across the Bucks County.
I think it is. Yeah.
So that's my lime-based mortar. Did I miss anything?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. So did you have any questions about that?
No. Like I said, I'm not looking forward at my age to do anything anymore.
Right.
Over on the other half of the duplex, they did put a product on, but I think it was more like we talked about last week.
Like a consolidant?
It's not stucco, it's what we replaced stucco, drive it.
Oh, the drive it, yeah.
Yeah, they did one section of drive it, and it seems to be doing very well.
Yeah, as long as the water can get out, that should be okay. And that's the big, I mean, even with the freeze thaw cycle of the brick and the Portland versus the lime-based mortar, it really is all about water in the wall, and it needs to be able to get out. Like that's like the basics of all of this is the water's in it, it needs to be able to get out in a way that doesn't damage the building.
That's the key.
I had water last week. I had a drain pipe break in the basement.
Oh goodness!
Yeah.
Did
Well,
it, did you have to dig up the sidewalk?
no, no, it
Oh,
was actually overhead in the basement. Quite,
oh, above. Oh, goodness.
quite accessible.
That makes it easier. Not
It's
less messy, but
cast
easier.
iron, and it, all of a sudden it had a, I mean, the crack was old, but all of a sudden a large part of it broke open. So I don't know why it happened all of a sudden, but
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Well, the cast iron does give out, and especially, you know, at that 120-year point.
Yeah, well, also, it probably doesn't help that
Our water,
everybody,
yeah.
our water in the city is not as good as probably what they're saying it is.
Well, but it's
but
hard.
It's
really
pretty hard.
Yeah.
But also, houses are not designed to be used as hard as they have been in the past couple months. I mean,
yeah.
truthfully.
In this case, I think it's almost the reverse. This drain pipe, because when we bought the house 10 years ago, part of that same run broke. And it comes only from our third floor bathroom, which gets used very little. So I suspect that it's often dry, completely dry.
That probably, that makes sense.
Different
I
than
know.
the others, so.
Yeah, and that could be too. But I know, like, we have a drain in our basement floor that the plumber thinks that it collapsed. And so we just bypass it. We put a utility sink in and bypass it so that our washing machine would drain. That's the only water we have in the basement, really.
Yeah.
But the plumber was telling me it's very common in these older houses for those cast iron drains to just collapse on itself, you know, whether it's tree roots or they're really good and they're solid, but they have a lifespan. Everything has a lifespan.
Fortunately, 10 years ago, when we moved in and that piece broke, we had to replace it with cast iron, as you know, and you couldn't use PVC between two cast iron connections.
Right.
Over the years, they've changed the rules, and so the replacement piece is PVC.
Okay.
Made the job a lot easier.
Yeah, a lot easier.
I think. I didn't get the bill yet.
That's funny. So, yeah, I think it would make it easier though.
Yeah, it's the less time consuming.
And the material's less expensive.
If you want an unrelated question, I can give you one.
Oh, sure, definitely.
There's an old house. It's on Duke and Frederick, on the same side as the hospital, which would be the east side of the street, and across Frederick. There's a house there. It's a duplex. But the more you look at it, the more you realize the differences between the two sides.
Right.
You know, in one case they had stone pillars up, you know, several feet above the porch deck, and the other one has a wood column, you know, from floor to ceiling. The turrets are a little bit different.
But they're connected.
It's a duplex. I'm sure it was built at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the owner wanted his side to be a shade better than
the other side, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious. Is it okay? So is it on Duke?
Yeah, faces Duke.
Okay, faces Duke, and is it okay? So that's that side of the street, and then is it in Frederick?
Yeah.
So is it in the same block as the hospital, or is it the block down? Is it the block to the right?
It's across the street, a block down from the hospital.
Okay, I'll have to go over and look at that.
There's a Baptist church directly across.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the church is on the corner, and so then I was trying to. Yeah.
Yeah, it faces the church. It's just interesting.
Okay. Oh, I know the house. Yeah, I think the hospital owns those buildings. Yeah. I'll have to look at them.
In an eye doctor's office.
Yeah, I'll have to stand back and look at them. That's interesting. I could see that, and I wonder too, is sometimes like if the builder was going to live in one, or you know, something like that, like they did a little bit more upgrades than the other side. Something, I wonder if it was something like that.
Or if somebody could have even made a deal with them to build it, but they upgraded their spot.
Yeah, kind of like options in building new houses now. You know, you could go in and do your upgrades from the standard. Yeah, I'll have to go over and look at that. I'm curious now. And I've driven past it, I'm sure, you know, a million times.
At first glance, you might not notice it, but if
Yeah.
you stand there and look at it, there's just those columns, the turrets are different
Are
sizes.
just a little bit different. Okay, well, I'll have to.
The roof line is a little bit different.
I'll have to go over and look, and then I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, well, very good. Did you have any other questions?
No.
Okay, well, very good.
Closet is waiting for me.
Okay, well, have a good week. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.